Hello there, good evening and welcome to your favorite television show. Yes, this is Football Domain on your number one online television channel, CTV. I am your host, Wisdom Chimoba, popularly known as the Principal Thing. And today, as usual, guys, we've got the usual football updates for you. In fact, this has to do with Eagles of Nigeria. There's been a whole lot of talks concerning the Super Eagles of Nigeria after our draw with Rwanda, but that aside, there's also the conversation about the interim coach Augustin Egunhavon, and there's also something that has to do with a certain hurricane. This and a whole lot more we will be discussing on today's show, so do well to stay tuned because we'll be back in a bit. Okay, once again, welcome back. You're still listening to Football Domain on your number one online television channel, CTV. I still remain your host, Wisdom Chimoba, also known as the Principal Thing. And today, guys, we've got some interesting things to talk about. Like I said before we went on the break, it's got to do with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Now, yesterday, the Super Eagles of Nigeria went away from home and we took on Rwanda for the AFCON qualifiers, and that game ended 0-0. In fact, it was quite an interesting game for the neutrals, but for both teams, or either fans of both teams, they weren't satisfied with the scoreline, especially for the Nigerians. Yes, because they had a brilliant game, but the goalkeeper of Rwanda was absolutely fantastic. In fact, he was the man of the match in that game yesterday. It ended 0-0. The Super Eagles doing their best to get a point, or Rwanda doing their best to earn a point, if I should put it that way, because that is how it's meant to be. Both sides actually performed well, to be candid, but at the end of the day, it ended in a stalemate. Now Nigeria went into that game on the back of a 3-0 defeat over Benin Republic, and the Nigerians especially were hoping that they would enter that game with that same vigor and that same energy, but it wasn't the case, especially when it came to converting the chances that they created. The Nigerians were not clinical in front of goal, although Nigeria scored a goal which was disallowed by the referee. That is left to be debated, because that's a conversation for another day, whether that goal ought to have stood or not. But hey, that aside, that is not the conversation for today. The real conversation has to do with the interim coach of Nigeria and the person of Augustin Egunhavon. Now, after that game, Egunhavon, was asked a question about his position as the interim manager or the interim coach of the Super Eagles, and this was what he had to say. Now, in a statement, while in an interview after the game, he said, "I've been given a mandate to handle 2 games. Okay, I will want to say I'm very pleased with the boys, and thanks to the NFF leadership and all the boys supported me in terms of discipline and working hard. It ends today, which is the 2 games mandate. I can't really talk about Libya because I haven't been told, but I can talk a little bit. In case we have another coach, we can talk about it. I want to be closer to the team as it should be, and I can give inside information that we need to overcome Libya." Those were the words of Augustin Egunhavon when he was asked about his position as the interim manager. Now, reports were flying about yesterday about Egunhavon stepping down from his role as the interim head coach. Now, Egunhavon earlier on acknowledged that, saying that he was given just a 2-game mandate. The primary objective he was given was to be in charge of the Super Eagles for just the 2 games. That is talking about the qualifiers against Benin Republic and Rwanda. Those were the 2 games he was meant to take charge of, and after that he was to step aside. But later on, after the reports started flying around about Egunhavon stepping down from his role, some even said that he stepped down like Finidi George, and he came out a few hours later to debunk that with another statement, which I'm going to be reading out for you very shortly. Now, Egunhavon was very clear that for now, the NFF are still making plans, that he is the technical director, so the whole handing out to ensure that everything goes well for the benefit of the Super Eagles. This is what Egunhavon had to say when he came out to debunk rumors that he had stepped down as the manager of the Super Eagles. It's quite unfortunate that people just triggered something that is not correct. The situation we are in now, we don't need negative stories. I only talked about how I'm going to sit down with the hierarchy of the federation after these 2 games, and then we will see what we will do about prosecuting the next games. When I saw that story, I was kind of worried and concerned. Whatever people are reading out there is not correct. I am still very much in charge. I am the technical director of the NFF, saddled with the responsibility of taking the Super Eagles at the moment, and that is where we are. Those are the words of Augustine Egunhavon, who came out later on to debunk the rumors that he had stepped down as the interim of the Super Eagles. Now we know that the Super Eagles, they've been having issues getting a proper manager, to replace Finidi George. In fact, it all started from the time of Jose Peseiro not being able to give Jose Peseiro a contract or renewing his contract, and we appointed Finidi George after a long while, and Finidi George, not spending too much time on the job, left the role, and then Bruno Labbadia came by after the NFF announced Bruno Labbadia as the new Super Eagles head coach. Labbadia declined the deal and said, hey, I'm stepping away from this job. And just few days before the AFCON qualifiers, Egunhavon was appointed with Fidelis Ilechukwu and Daniel Okumodede as his assistants to take the Super Eagles for these AFCON qualifiers, which was concluded yesterday. So that is the drama concerning the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the NFF. But notwithstanding, I really have to say Augustine Egunhavon deserves credit for the wonderful outputs by the Nigerian national team. Yes, talking about the Super Eagles. Why do I say so? Now, Egunhavon, within these 2 games, 1 win, 1 draw, 3 goals scored, 2 clean sheets kept, and 4 points out of a possible 6. That is a wonderful record. If you reckon, or if you ask me, I think that is a good one for him to remain there. This, I really have to put it out there. This is a different Egunhavon, from the one that we knew before. Why do I say so? Because the last time he took charge of the Super Eagles, it didn't go down well at all. In fact, he didn't qualify for the World Cup, and even the AFCON got knocked out in the round of 16. But you can see that right now he's got a whole lot of experience. He's added some things to his game that probably enabled him perform better. So let's just wait and see and wonder what the decision of the NFF would be by the end of the day. But moving away from that, let me just give you a rundown of the games that went down yesterday in the AFCON qualifiers. We saw some games go down, apart from Nigeria versus Rwanda that ended 0-0. Some games also went down yesterday, and talking about South Sudan and South Africa. South Africa defeated South Sudan by 3-2, and then Mozambique defeated Guinea-Bissau by 2-1. Tanzania and Guinea, that game also ended 2-1 in favor of Tanzania. And then Zimbabwe and Cameroon, that game ended 0-0 with Andre Onana of Manchester United stealing the show. The fans all chanting his name, and it was a good one for the Cameroonian. Talking about Andre Onana, the Manchester United shot stopper. Moving on from that, it is Mali who took on Eswatini, and that game ended 1-0 in favor of the away team in Mali. And then Gabon defeated Central African Republic by 2-0. Namibia lost by 1-2 to Kenya, and then Egypt smashed Botswana, yes, by 4-0. Other games also went down. We also saw the likes of Algeria take on Liberia. Riyad Mahrez, Algeria defeated Liberia by 3-0, and Benin Republic defeated Libya by 2-1. Now Benin Republic are also in the same group of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and that game ended 2-1 in favor of Benin Republic. Burkina Faso defeated Malawi by 3-1. Cape Verde and Mauritania, that one ended 2-0 in favor of Cape Verde. And then Zambia defeated Sierra Leone by 3-2. And the final game that went down yesterday was the defending champions, or in fact reigning champions of the AFCON, in the person or in the team of Ivory Coast. They defeated Chad by 2 goals to nil. So those were the games that went down. And if you look at the table of the Super Eagles as we speak right now, the Super Eagles are currently topping that table with 4 points after 2 games, 3 goals scored. They are yet to concede any, keeping 2 clean sheets in their first 2 games. And then Benin Republic in second place with 3 points after defeating Libya by 2 goals to 1. And then Rwanda sits in third with 2 points after 2 draws, from their 2 games. And then Libya in fourth place with just 1 point and a -1 goal difference. They played out a draw with Rwanda earlier on in their first game and then lost to Benin Republic by 2 goals to 1. So that is that for the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the AFCON qualifiers. The international break is done and football, club football would be back by this weekend. But before we talk about club football, let us go on this break, because once we come back, we are going to be going over to Europe, where I've got some interesting information for you. We'll be back. Alright, once again, welcome back. You're still listening to Football Domain on your #1 online television channel, CTV. I still remain your host, Wisdom Chumba, popularly known as the Principal Fin. We've been talking about AFCON and the qualifiers, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Egunhavon, and all of that. But hey, we're leaving Africa now. We're flying straight to Europe, where a certain man in Harry Kane was making the headlines for all of the right reasons yesterday. In fact, till today, Harry Kane is still making the headlines. And why do I say so? Harry Kane came up clutch for England as they defeated Finland by 2 goals to 0 at Wembley. And Harry Kane made his 100th cap for England yesterday, but he capped it off well with a wonderful performance, scoring a brace for England. And that tally for Harry Kane has increased his record to 85 goals and assists in 100 caps for England. That is massive. That's a total of 68 goals and 17 assists in 100 games for England. This man is not stopping at all. As it stands, he is the current top scorer of the English national team, yes, of the 3 Lions, and he's entered the list of the centurions when it comes to the number of caps acquired or earned for England. Harry Kane doing Harry Kane things. The goals he scored yesterday, really, I have to say, those goals were fantastic goals, mind-blowing goals. The shots he rifled. In fact, the second goal was a spinning ball. If you haven't checked out that game, you can do well to go watch the highlights. You can also catch some of our videos on CTV Live right there on YouTube, in fact, and Facebook. You can do well to like and comment and subscribe. Go check out some of our videos there. Some games also went down, yes, for the Nations League, the UEFA Nations League. Let me give you a rundown of those games that went down yesterday, and take note that some games went down on Monday, but this is just for the games that went down yesterday. We saw Andorra take on Malta, but that game ended 1-0 in favor of Malta. North Macedonia defeated Armenia by 2 goals to 0. Ireland lost to Greece by 2 goals to 0, and England defeated Finland by 2 goals to 0. Czechia surprisingly defeated Ukraine by 3 goals to 2. Albania lost by a lone goal to Georgia, and then the Netherlands slugged it out with Germany, and that game ended 2-2. And Hungary, who were hungry but not hungry enough to earn all 3 points. That game ended 0-0 between themselves and Bosnia and Herzegovina. And finally, we saw Latvia defeat the Faroe Islands by a goal to 0. So that is the rundown of all of the games that went down yesterday for the UEFA Nations League. Okay, so before we call it a wrap on today's show, guys, don't forget that club football would be returning by Friday. I'm going to be giving you a rundown of the games that will be going down, and in fact, I would love to get your predictions for some of the games that will be going down. You know that of all the clubs that would be returning back, that Manchester United are going to be making the headlines because of the future of Eric Ten Hag. Cristiano Ronaldo, I said something about, but because of our time, I'm not going to be dwelling more on that. If you want to catch more of our videos and you want to engage more with contents like this, you can do well to go follow us on CTV Live. That is our handle on Facebook, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to like and comment, and be a part of the conversation. So this is where I would be drawing the curtain. It's been a pleasure giving you all of this information, guys. Don't forget that this show is sponsored by Yada Masule Foundation. And hey, do not forget our usual Proverbs 4 verse 7. Come on, say it together. Proverbs 4 verse 7, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and in all that getting, get understanding. Do have a beautiful weekend ahead.